Alright guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to review the Phala protocol. This is a pretty cool project. If you're new to my channel, please check out the video of how this channel works. Otherwise, I'm going to jump right into it. As you can see, this project has a lot of green. It is a well-designed product. And that's, not many projects have this much green, including this area. And we'll get into what that is in the future. But what I will say is, yes, I absolutely expect this project to perform, and I'm going to jump right into a summary of what this product is. First of all, it's not live, but they have been working since 2018 for many of their solutions and building this thing out. And it will launch mainnet before the end of this year. So what problem is this project going to solve? It is confidential, interoperable, fast, private smart contract execution. They claim to be the first ones to have interoperability, and they use this trusted execution environment, or TEE as they call it, to accomplish that interoperability capabilities, and also the speed component of the throughput component of their privacy. So they are very critical of Monero and Zcash. They claim that their method, the methods that these projects use are not scalable. They go up exponentially in computational difficulty as the amount of processing goes up. That needs to be done. So their approach is scalable. These guys are I will say that they are hardware specialists because that's what their solution involves for this project. You're probably going to be a TEE provider. You're going to download the software, and it's going to run that privacy software on your device, and that's what these guys are doing. So they claim to be the first interoperable privacy guys. This is bullish. If what they're saying is true, obviously you're going to promote yourself in a positive light, but if everyone else is incapable of doing interoperability and you are, and you're doing that at scale, and you're doing it the first privacy solution to be able to do that, which as far as my knowledge goes, they are, that they have a very wide market. So let's see here. The remote. Okay, so this is the particularities of how they accomplish this. They have something called remote attestation, provability, and execution in the TE environment via a quote. And it's just the methodology, the technical methodology. I don't need to dive into it, but it has an enclave that reports of a platform-specific state, and that quote proves that the privacy solution is being held in a private, secure environment on your hardware. So does the team have the ability to deliver? I would say yes. And whenever we start a project, we're going to run on these two assumptions. Otherwise, the project's worthless to us. And that is that the token is used for services. And do they have a lot of room to growth? And they answer those. The answer to that question, to those questions, is absolutely. Okay, so let's dive into this thing. So my action is not investment advice, but buying a small position. And I expect it to have pretty well performance. It's one of the more bullish projects that I am seeing. The pros are interoperability, fast, Polkadot system. They're going for that interoperability. If you know Metcalfe's law, this project is well positioned to take advantage of that. That's why Polkadot is such an important project, because it is in that Metcalfe's law advantage-seeking position of the network effect. I would suggest you look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about. So this project is in first line to accomplish a lot of that. The governance on this project is excellent. They have a very unique governance model. They take some good components from the Polkadot system, and as well as adding some governance components of their own, and it's all pretty amazing, and I'll get into that as well. The cons, there's no mainnet yet, and the distribution is at 30% that's distributed. But guys, this is a $10 million or less market cap. I don't care that there's such a slow distribution given how small and ignored this project currently is. This project has only been live, available for, or only tradable as far as I know, for 10 days. At least that's what has shown up when you search for the price action of this project. So the token seems to only be available as of recently. So do I expect a future increase in demand for the token? Absolutely. Now we can see from right here that there is no current niche being served because they're not live yet, but when they are, this can contribute. The token is used for services, absolutely. One of our mission critical components. It's used for staking, security, voting, and service fees. Nominated proof of stake system. They replaced the representative system of the Polkadot governance model with a DAO system of their own with something called liquid democratic voting. And I will get into that when I get into the governance component, but yes, this token is used for everything for this project. The value of the target market is large. So is there room for growth? Absolutely. We're talking about private, confidential, proprietary services. So anything that you would want, and basically every single business you can think of, if it wants to get an upper hand on its competition, is going to want to have a small operational period of secrecy. And so that means they would have secrecy services that they would want. And if you're medical, there's plenty of examples, but yeah, medicine would be another one, and where you wouldn't want your customer data to be exposed. Yeah. Also, if you want to remove your transaction history, this is something that would be capable of doing that as well. Okay, so yeah. We'll go up this direction. I usually do. So future market excitement from the price momentum, likely, absolutely. This is one of those projects where you're in before there's a hype stage. There has not been a hype stage for this project yet. So bang, bang, bang. We got a major event coming. Mainnet launch in Q4 before the end of the year. So that's the kind of thing you want to see with a major event. Mainnet being launched, the mainnet being launched before the end of the year. So, that may potentially be a hype moment. Obviously nothing's going to be said with that. Nothing's guaranteed. That's what I'm saying. But, that's a pretty big event. Okay, so current awareness is low. Yes, I would say that's the case. We haven't seen any marketing, so there's been no hype cycle yet. We have, so there's that. Social media, all of it's pretty low. The Twitter awareness is 7K people on Twitter. The project team is almost invisible. The biggest YouTube exposure is 20K. So they are invisible on social media. Great stuff. As far as availability, I'm starting to believe that, when everything was centralized exchanges before, we're moving to a DEX-filled environment with trading. So the idea of something being on weird exchanges is going to disappear as we get more of that DEX, like Uniswap, for instance. And you know what? This is a really good thing. That because now everything's moving to a more permissionless level. But you know what? I'm going off in a tangent here. The bottom line is, you will be able to get in early on projects that are promising because of things like Uniswap. You will be able to fund people when they're small. This is I wouldn't say this is the American dream. This is the dream of entrepreneurship, guys. And that's one of the reasons I'm so bullish on crypto. But I am digressing too much. The token is not that hard to get. But things like Uniswap, bringing that dream to to people. The permissionless ability to fund small projects and see your wealth grow because you're funding people with aspirations. Exciting stuff, guys. You can tell I'm a little excited because crypto gets me excited when I start thinking about it from a philosophical standpoint. But let me get back. So you can see this project has me excited because it's pretty cool. Money needed to move price up decreases. I do expect the amount of effort to increase the price to decrease. And the reason for that is tokens on the sell side to decrease over time. I expect that to happen. So low inflation. The token holders control the rate. So they vote. The token holders are in control of the inflation. So if that's the case, it doesn't even matter if it's high inflation because the token holders are going to decide the optimal inflation rate. And I'm going to go ahead and show you figure 2 of what they're going to do here. So they're going to control how many tokens are in stake, and their goal is this 40% is the goal. And so if less than 40% of those tokens are staked, you can see that the revenues increase exponentially to attract people to staking. So it's going to settle around this 12% yield, and the inflation's around 5%. And you can see the inflation will drop and the yield will drop when over than 40% is staked. So it will reach market forces suggest that it will reach an equilibrium at 40% staked, and that's what they're going for with this project. And the way they do that is by changing the reward mechanism. As less than the amount is staked, it's more attractive. As more, it is less attractive, and so it balances out at this point that they're targeting. The inflationary forces are not right. When it's at that target 40%, it's at 5% inflation. But remember, they can change that at any time. The token holders will decide what is the optimal rate. So there's 5% inflation and a 12% yield for staking. So that means it's like 6.5 or about 7. And oddly enough, they seem to understand that 15 P to E ratio, and they say, this is the natural rate of income for a project. And guess what? That's cool that they understand that. Okay, so, it's just, the team is very informed on this project. So, project has not been in a bear market. It's only been live for 10 days. Remember, that is kind of a risky territory for projects because it's 2x out the gate, but it's very small market cap. I will say, when I entered my position in this project, I moved the market. That's how low the volatility is on this project, or the volume. The volume is extremely low on this project. So the token supply distribution is, it's 30% distributed. So, that could be a negative force in the future if this project gets any sort of market cap, but not a big concern right now. But it is a negative force, as tokens are released, Market cap, it is a micro cap. How many micro caps are there in the Polkadot system? Really? I won't, none. So, maybe these things may or may not contribute to the price performance in the future. And, this one's well deserving. So, just my take. Niche, nothing. It's not live yet. Okay. Tokens per person to go down over time. I do expect that to be the case. There's no burning model, so that is irrelevant for this, and that's why I'm erasing that. Project is easy to use. I couldn't find anything mentioning this, but the project's not live, and we'll probably see some stuff like this when they're talking about developers and onboarding developers to use their privacy solutions. All right, let's go into the governance. Okay, so hey, look, it's one of those projects that has this amazing feature of added voter weight for time lockup of tokens. Not many projects have this. This is one of those projects that does, and this is one of the best things you can have for a project. It's a minimum of 4-week lockup to get any voice in this project at all. That means that you have to have that long-term thinking in order to have a voice over this platform, and that long-term thinking and strategy is contributing to governance. It's also contributing to less tokens per person, and that's why this whole thing turns green, because this is a major force. Time lockup of tokens, and guess what? It also protects from custodial exchange voting, because they don't want to risk users withdrawing their funds. When, by locking up the tokens to be able to vote for their own desires. So those who bought in, this is mostly true. You have that 4-week period to lock up your tokens to get any vote at all. And so most of the exchanges most exchanges won't take that risk. Unless, because they could run into a problem where when people try to withdraw, they won't be able to get their tokens, and, that could make their whole exchange fail, because people complaining about that kind of thing. Exchanges don't like that. So it creates a force against exchanges voting with users' funds. So in the governance, they have The changes to the code are decided by the PHA token, the Phala token. Staking time wait for voting, anonymous voting. Because it's everything with the product that this project provides is anonymity. That's one of their core capabilities, and they have anonymous voting. And they have something called liquid democratic voting. And they replaced the council with the DAO. So, like, if you know Polkadot's governance, they just replaced the council component with a DAO. Now I'm going to take a look at Figure 1.0, and this is a pretty cool thing about their voting. So you do not even have. This is a really amazing thing I've never seen before, but I guess here I am witnessing this thing. This is a something called liquid democratic voting. And what it is you're this guy and you vote for your friend because you're like, oh man, my friend, he's a responsible guy. I'm going to give my votes to him. And he's going to give his vote to someone else he likes who thinks he's smarter than him. And this guy's going to vote, And so this guy gets a heavier weight because, I think so-and-so is more informed. I'm going to vote for him. And if he votes, then he's going to vote for, let's say 2 people. That splits his vote. And so he gives his weight to these people. And then these people will choose people that are more informed than them. And those people choose the representatives. It's a really unique take on democracy. This has never been really possible that I can think of, practically speaking, until code became a thing. This is the kind of stuff that happens when you got programming. These really cool ideas bubble to the surface. Could you imagine doing this in a Greek democratic environment where you're using pamphlets or even before code? It would be impractical. But now you have this really cool democratic system that I've never, it's really interesting to see how this works out. I actually think it will work out pretty well. Because, you vote for, everybody just simply votes for the person who they think is more informed than them. And ultimately, all the weight comes down to the people who are most informed, and they decide who will be the representatives. Really cool democratic process. Meaning, you just vote for the guy next to you who you think is going to vote better on your behalf. Or you can even be the person who votes for yourself. And so it's very cool governance model. I think it will be effective. To the degree that you are positive about your voting, you're going to vote on what you want to vote for. So I do believe this governance will lead to high-value people running this project. And, high-value people leads to good contributions everywhere. As you can tell, this is quite subjective. Some people might not like that governance model. I personally think it is a good governance model. So there's no mention. So what this is, internal transfer catalyst. This is for when the project's already live. It's basically incentives to bring people over to your project from other projects, competition or else, or whatever. And I couldn't find anything on this because they're not live. So of course you're not going to see something like this contributing. And there's also no mention about external transfer catalyst inhibitors. This makes it more difficult for people to leave your system once they are in it. And obviously they're not live yet, so they don't have any of those systems that cause customers to stay loyal to your platform. And what that does is that diminishes competition's ability to harm your project, your price of your project. So regarding the team, Lin Marvin Tong, he's the CEO, and he used to work for DIDI, which is like the Chinese Uber, and it has 550 million users, and he was a project manager for that. So I'll call that an impressive achievement just to get into that position and be a high rank at a company with 550 million users, something like Uber. And being a product manager, that means he's got pretty good experience from that. So yeah, I would say that his achievements are quite impressive. So their employees they're from Google, Tencent, and DJI. Tencent is a project. It's a company that has $50 billion in revenue, and it's an internet company in China that does investing for the most part that I could tell. So evidence of ability to solve difficult problems, I would say, yes, the team has that ability. A lot of them have pretty cool experience. And this DJI is hardware experience, which is pretty cool. As I said, like they have something called the TEE, the Trusted Execution Environment. So you got to have the hardware experience when you're writing code that will sit on top of users' hardware. So the best option of the competition, they claim to be that, and I think they might be. Where they're fast, interoperable. That, just being fast and interoperable, you're going to take advantage of price capture for Metcalfe's law, and also the fact that you can parallel process, you can scale and do a lot of transactions per second, whereas things like Monero and Zcash cannot do those things. So you're offering the best privacy solution to date, and you're also going to experience some of that Polkadot benefit when the Polkadot system gets fully running. Current development team is great, yes. And that contributes to long-term vision and strategy being great. The strategic partnerships and backers, they are partnered with Polkadot, and they have been funded by the Web3 grant recipient. I will say that every single project that I've seen that's been funded by the Web3 has 100x, or they've about the least that I've seen was 14x of all the Web3 grant recipients. And so this project, starting out, just launched 10 days ago. We'll see how that performs. They received $10 million in funding, and hey guys, think about this. Their current market cap is roughly $10 million for their circulating supply, and they have $10 million in funding. What does that mean? The full list is in my, if you look at my sources, you'll see the full list of partnerships, but they're funded by Web3. So that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's good enough for me. So they contributed here. So clear mission statement. They have their mission statement is to build a global scale trusted computing protocol, and they say it's a smart contract enabled interoperable data exchange in a private environment. So they have a really good mission statement. Developers are going to be funded by that 15% allocation when the tokens are distributed of the total supply, and then from the future inflation and the treasury will decide project compensations in the future. So token will vote on the compensation packages for developers and future projects based on that democracy. Developer motivation will be strong because they have good funding decided for that. You will have high value upgrades because you got that long-term vision and strategy. And you also have developer motivation and high value upgrades leading to value of services provided today increasing in value, which will attract business to your platform. So I do see big business buying this in the future for proprietary tech and sensitive user data, which will lead to this powerful force contributing to price performance right here in the future. So yeah, look at how green this project is. Jeez. Okay, and the future marketing plans, they have good people contributing to this. There's been nothing mentioned yet, but when you have good people, I can suggest that their marketing will be on top of things. More people using project, and going to ultimately less tokens per person. So that is the runabout for this project. I think it's going to be a strong performer. Obviously, nothing in life is guaranteed, but that's my take on it, and that's where I think I'll leave off of this project.